We know when to start it.
Okay, what is up, guys? I'm here with my man Marcus R. Watts. We recently were hanging out, collabing. We were on a panel at a pop-up event in Tampa, talking about podcasting and why
Yeah,
it's like awesome right now, and like our experience with it, what we're doing, what we're learning, what's working. So I'm excited to dive in with Marcus, who he has his own podcast, but what I learned too from hearing him speak and like vibing with him is that like he's also like super sharp and like a great marketer and like someone who's actually like doing what he does, or like doing what he says. So I'm excited to like dive in with Marcus here, talk to him about his podcast, have him teach us some stuff, and then just really just have a great conversation, man, because you have great energy. So for people who don't know who you are, can you kind of explain who you are, what you do, why you're awesome?
yeah. Thanks, man. Well, like first, thank you so much for having me on. I'm really honored. We had like a really good vibe at the event. I was so glad. I was really excited to get to connect with you, and it's like to hear you're complimenting me. We're like throwing compliments back and forth, but to hear the way that you answer questions and the way that you approach stuff, I could tell that anybody that's in your audience is getting a ton of value. So yeah, guys, like nice to meet you. First off, my name is Marcus Watts. I'm kind of multifaceted, so I'll tell you guys both sides. There's one side that most people know me for, and that's a lifestyle and fitness coach. I focus mostly in plant-based living after I suffered blood clots in 2013. I work mostly with people that are aged like 32 to like 54, that pretty much is busy professionals that recognize, I need to change my life. Like I need to be healthier in order to maintain this level of output that I'm after in my business, in my personal life with my family. My background in that is, I played college and professional basketball overseas for about 6 years. I was like a SWAT team fitness liaison. I've been on like exercise science and technology boards. I owned 2 gyms, and I helped open 2 gyms before that. So I kind of specialize inside the fitness world. Now, the side that got us to meet is I have a company called Uprise Digital, and basically we help create and implement digital strategies for businesses and entrepreneurs so they can make money while they sleep. Some people just need the strategy. Some people need the implementation. And so I kind of help business owners, like I've been through a lot of shit. I, lost my car, I think you heard me tell the story about not having my cell phone on for months, not eating for 3 days. And so I understand when you're trying to build something, the sacrifices that you'll make. And I just kind of vowed to share everything that I've put into my business to now. Like, Dax is asking me like, hey, how long are you free for? I'm like, I'm free as long as I fucking want to be. Oh, can I cuss on this show? Sorry.
Yeah, you can, man. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And because I do what I want when I want, and that's my whole thing, helping people to continue to do that.
Cool. I'm pretty. We gotta give me a hashtag live, guys. If you're on live, Commit We Live.
Oh, this is dope.
Hello there, dude. I want to know, first before we get like into like your marketing knowledge and like what you've used to like have to grow your podcast and all your strategies that I know work. What is it you think is different or unique about you that like people say about you or you feel?
I think I kind of have a gift that I get from my father, and it's my dad was 22 plus years in the military. He was a first sergeant, drill team commander, and just that ability to be able to speak and connect with people, I think is probably that one thing that it allows me to I understand where people are coming from, and because of that, I can kind of help them get to that end result that they're trying to get to. I think everybody's got a superpower. Everybody in this group, everybody listening to this podcast, there's a reason that you're here. And you've got a superpower, and you just have to like let that shit be free. And there's someone out there that needs help, and you've got the ability to help them.
Yeah, dude. So I want to know like what kind of was the catalyst for you to start a podcast?
Yeah. So for me, we were talking about this a little bit off camera. Is I think a lot of people will start a podcast because they enjoy talking, and I think that's great. I think it's great for you to want to do that. And I think it's great for you to want to, just some people just like to have conversations. And I think as long as they're structured and giving value, that's fine. For me, I knew that I wanted to create the freedom, the financial freedom, to be able to do the things that I wanted. And I felt that connecting with people via a podcast was going to be a way to help me do that. Now, originally, I started helping other people create content for their podcast. It wasn't even doing it for myself. And then now we've got about maybe no joke, like 40 episodes that are like pre-recorded, because I'm like a batch recorder. And we can talk more about, the outsourcing and stuff like that. But I just felt like I had so much knowledge to give, and that was the way that I was going to do it. The goal is to get people to connect to something. I've got something that you need, whether it's my fitness show or it's the business show, the Success Bias, which you guys will see dropping here soon. My first guest is actually David Meltzer from Sports One Marketing, which is, he opened a sports agency with Warren Moon. And if you guys know business shows, he's actually on a business show. I don't know, I can't think of the name right now, but
he's pretty big, yeah.
Yeah. That was my first guest on the show. My second guest on the show was.
How did you land that, by the way?
Bro, slide in those DMs, comment on those posts. Like, Jeremy actually plugged me with the connection, and we just started doing stuff for him. He sent us books. Just like the power of social media is amazing. You got to be willing to go out there. I think Gary Vee has a really cool concept of spending like $1.80 a day or something like that.
Yeah, that's actually part of like my marketing strategy. Like, it's so simple, like people forget it.
Like, the thing is, people are like, oh, I don't want to spend that much time on social media. Like, okay, then you don't want to get results then, because it's free. Like, how I can't tell you how many, like, the whole reason that we got connected and that event happened in less than 12 days is because somebody saw something on social media and somebody called somebody and somebody.
It's because, dude, you can't see it, but those flames right there, that's commented by Laura. So.
Oh, that's Laura.
Yeah.
And like, so I mean, since we know that she's listening, Laura's like, hey, I want to do this thing, and then Jeremy was like, hey, I think I know somebody that can get a place, and then it was like, hey, yeah, the meeting's set for Tuesday, and then it was just like, wait a minute, what's happening right now? Like, there's an event that's launching, the 20s. It was crazy. And that's the power of social media. And I think that's why so many people, since we're talking about it, I'll brag about her a little bit. I think the reason that people connect with Laura so much is because, like, she's so active. She interacts with you. She makes you feel like you're a part of the experience. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, she's like going out and doing all these, speaking engagements, and her like content is like super fire, and she's a little bit raw. And if you don't like it, keep it fucking moving. But she uses social media so well, and she's willing to invest that time because she sees the benefit.
Yeah, I think that's like one of the biggest things I've learned from some big like successful business people, at least in like the media space, is just like the personal side of it, like just being fun and like just a good person is great for your business. Like, people forget that, just like having a good personality. And I think she's like, is an example of that. Dude, I want to talk about like what has been like the best strategy that's worked so far for your podcast to help it grow, or just have like the goal that you want, whether it's more connection or talking to the right people or.
So I'm going to say it's two things. And one of them can be done before you actually really even have a podcast. And that's the Dream 100. If you haven't gotten the book, I firmly believe in it. So basically I have a spreadsheet of like my Dream 100 for like people who have podcasts that I would like love to interact with, or just maybe just get to connect with them, maybe even get them on my show. That's really the end goal. Like, hey, I'd like to have you on my show. Then I have like a Dream 100 for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And like, some people are like, man, 100 people, I can't think of 100 people. That's cool. Start with 10 and then get 10 in each, and then get 20, get up to 30 and then 40. And then just start interacting, start subscribing to all their content, start letting them see you are a real person. And it's funny because there are guys like, I'll like try to DM them and I'll just like comment on their posts, and they like won't be responding or anything. They like won't say anything to me. And then like months later, they'll like see what I'm doing. Somehow somebody else will share something, and they'll DM me. You know what I'm saying? And then now they feel like indebted to you a little bit, because they're like, oh, damn, I've been ignoring Buddy for like 6 months or whatever. So
that's funny, because that actually happened to me with Dana Derricks, the guy who wrote the book, the Dream 100. Now we have like calls and shit going on. So yeah.
So the Dream 100, and I think the other thing about the Dream 100 is it makes you really, too many times I think people are just doing things on the fly. If you do the Dream 100, you're going to have to really look at who it is that you want to, be like, associate with. And you'll start to see like, damn, what are they doing? Like, when you go and you start liking their Facebook page, subscribing to their mailing list, like getting all their free downloads, like following all their accounts on social media, like, damn, there's a lot of work. Like, this guy's okay. So that's like, and you start to see that that's the norm. You're like, okay, now your mind frame starts to get completely changed. Because before you used to think that this was abnormal. I'll give an example. I call it callous in your mind. It's actually, that's a David Goggins thing. I'm not going to act like I took that, so nobody tries to jump on me. But I get on calls sometimes with, partnerships, and they'll be like, oh yeah, sorry, I had this going on. I said, and I have a lot, it's just a lot. It's just a lot. It's a lot of work. It's going to be a lot of work. And I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking, what the fuck is a lot? Like, it's necessary. You know what I mean? A billionaire is not going to say it's a lot. A billionaire is going to say that that's what's regular. And you start to reshape your mindset. They're like, oh, okay, this is normal.
Yeah. And I love kind of going back on the Dream 100 strategy. You can only have so many, like the most important thing I think in business is relationships. Because relationships will get you new connections and it'll get you that credibility and it'll really position you in the market very well, having the right relationships. And you can only have so much of relationships in your world that you can actually like attend to, like actually like engage with people. So like the Dream 100 is a great way to like make sure those relationships are all high level so that like they're, leading you to your goal, your path. Yeah.
I think sometimes people are afraid because they're like, oh man, like, oof, why does that person want to? Well, yeah, they probably don't. You're not bringing them any value. Like, how did we get David Meltzer on the show? We brought him value. Like Jeremy was like doing stuff for him. I was like interacting, and even in the conversations, bro, it wasn't like, oh, thanks a lot, or like, hey, like, I'll help out. It was like, hey, I would love to over deliver on this project for you. You know what I mean? And like people start hearing like, oh, okay, they think you're kind of weird. Then they realize, nah, this is a real thing. The other thing that I would say is, if you guys, I'm not sure what format you guys push here, but the Epiphany bridge script is like fantastic. Once you let go of your reservations and you just start really digging in, off of one Epiphany bridge script, you can probably create, I mean, I don't know, man. Legit, I'm going to say minimum of like 100 pieces of micro content. You know what I mean? Not to mention every single like different piece, because I use a spreadsheet. So I go like backstory, and then I go, emotions, external and internal, and I just start listing stuff down. So like, I look, it's like 20 cells deep, and those are all topics for future shows. So when I was saying like, bro, how'd you get like 40 episodes backlogged for each show? It's like, oh yeah, because I just did the Epiphany bridge script, and then I just start the next show all the same, with the same process.
Yeah, dude, that is the exact process I teach. So, like, if you saw my content calendar, like, it's first figuring out your audience's biggest questions, their biggest desires, struggles, false beliefs, and then breaking it up into vehicle, internal, external. You can do the same with offers, and the scripting is the same. It's just taking people from one way of thinking to this new way of thinking that's going to actually improve their life. Obviously, like, it's funny. I had an interview the other day, and like, she's like, "Oh, you're changing people's beliefs. Well, isn't that bad?" I'm like, I mean, it's on the person. Like, you could do it, you could lie and do it for bad intentions. But,
right.
That's why you want to be ethical when you do it and not lie about what you're talking about and what this new way of thinking is. So, dude, I'm curious, what was your like number one struggle when you started to get into just like making content in general? And you might've just answered it with that, with what you just said. And then how did you overcome it?
Yeah. So, I mean, the Epiphany bridge script was big for me because like I think of myself as like an organized person, and so I would like write out these different ideas that would like hit me. Like you keep like a running note in your phone and stuff, like that's cool. But then when I would go to talk, I didn't really have like a common structure to have, and so I would feel like I was just like talking to talk, and I was like, man, this isn't really getting me, where I need to get to. So the stuff that I was taught, I didn't feel like it was great, even though it just still would have been better because I was just recording a lot of stuff. But like I wasn't telling a real story. If I'm gonna ask people to stop and listen to what I'm talking about, bro, people were taking time out of their day. Like they're driving to work. They could be like with their families. They could be, listening to something else. They could be finding other ways to make money, to go on a vacation, and they're taking time to listen to me. I was like, yo, like I need to make sure that I'm giving them like all that I can. And that's what I started aiming to do.
Oops, my microphone's muted. Dude, I'm curious, for outsourcing, how do you how much of your work do you outsource?
Yeah. So I like to be in control of everything enough to know when somebody's trying to pull like the wool over your eyes, right? It's, not everybody in business is great. It happens. It's a part of the business cycle, right? So originally I had a lav mic and I just kept it in my car, straight up. I did most of my recording in my car. And so I would just pop it out and just start recording in the car. And it was funny because like I actually had gotten in this lady, man, sideswiped my charger. It was crazy. And then so I didn't realize it, but since my car hadn't gotten fixed yet, it was like a couple months before I found the right place that I liked. I kept doing insurance company. No, I'm that place looks shady. So I was recording, and like I would record while I drove, and like on the recording you could hear like a little air coming in my car, but I didn't hear it when I was recording. But I forget where I was going with that. I'm sorry, but so totally lost. What was the question again? Help me out, Dax.
That's a great question. What was the question? I forget now, man.
I think you're asking me about the biggest when it came to outsourcing. So I was getting to a point, I promise. So finally, when I started just like getting like good content, I just was like literally talking to my MacBook because I still didn't have a mic that I really loved. And I took the time to like record that episode. I like listened to Russell Brunson's. If you go and you listen to Russell Brunson's podcast, and then you go back and listen to the intro of the vegan transition, I literally just I listened to it like 30 times, wrote the script out, and then I just made it, I modeled after it, and I used like what fit for me. So like I did all that myself. I created the first intro. I like did the music. I like watched a couple like videos on YouTube because I wanted to understand what went into it. After that, we found a freelancer and it was like 25 episodes like done for so much. And it's like, now it's just like, okay, record an intro, record an ad, record the outro, make sure that you preview the next episode, send it off, break it into pieces. And then it comes back and it's like, whoop, all done. Oh dude, let me, I'm so sorry. Let me just grab my battery or my charger just in case.
Yeah. Go for it.
Sorry, man.
Yeah. If you guys have questions, drop them below. What's up, dudes? Demetrios, what's up, man? How you doing, man? Marcus is really like, he's a smart guy when it comes to marketing. And that rhymes, Marcus and marketing. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to ask him some more questions here about his podcast. And he runs an agency too. That's pretty successful. Like he's worked with like some big people. Boom.
I'm back.
Yeah. I think it's pretty crazy. Like I had no backstory to who you were before we first met. And like, you're literally like aligned with some of the stuff that I met. Can you still hear me?
Yep, all good.
Okay, cool.
I can hear you.
All right, sweet. Dude, it's crazy. Like half the strategies you said is like how I started. Like I just modeled people's intros and outros, and yeah, that's funny. If you could go back and change one thing about how you started your podcast, when did you start it, by the way?
I started. This is funny. I started recording content in late 2016, and we didn't put out the first stuff until I had put some stuff on like Stitcher or something like that, like 2017, and then finally got stuff out like the end of like last year.
Okay, so like if you could change one thing that you would do differently when you first started, what would it be?
Yeah, I gave up too quick. I asked a bunch of people like that. Excuse me, let me refrain. I asked one person that had a podcast, like, hey man, like I tried to like do stuff on iTunes multiple times. It wasn't my wheelhouse. Like there are a lot of things I'm good at, but not that. And I wasn't getting the answers. Like I felt like I wasn't getting help. They're like, oh yeah, just do this. And I just kind of would get frustrated and then just stop. And in the future, I would just like keep knocking down doors and like finding the next person if I didn't get the answer. And honestly, like outsource from the jump. Like there are people that are passionate about doing a task that you need done. And especially in this tech, in this, this time, I mean, it's just a huge tech rise, right? There are people looking for opportunities. So, outsource. The only thing that you should be probably focusing on, like, yes, enough to understand stuff, unless there's something else that you just like editing and stuff, and you want to learn about it. Outsource everything. Find someone that wants to do it. Get your recordings batched and just put them out. They're never going to be good enough anyways. They're not. Listen, we're about to put out a series of episodes that were recorded when my car audio was real bad. And they're called The Lost Files. So it's going to be like a season on the podcast. And it's like, the intro is like, listen, this shit is rough. Like, this has been cleaned up and it's still rough. I want you to get past that. I want you to get past that because I want you to understand that this was a time when I was afraid to tell people what I was doing. I was afraid to share this, but it's great information and I want you to take from it. And it's also me sharing. It's going to be me sharing like the evolution. Like when they hear me now, they're gonna be like, damn, like what the, and that kind of makes me like more of a real person. So like, don't wait, man. Just find somebody, outsource, and just do it.
Yeah, that's so true, man. Dimitri says, "Nice to meet you, Marcus."
Nice to meet you as well.
You only need to like know enough to know if someone's doing a bad job. Like you don't need to know everything. So,
Yeah.
dude, and going back to what you said earlier too. Like I think a reason a lot of people quit is because they don't have the right expectations, or they don't know like, hey, this is gonna suck for a year.
Yeah.
Like they don't come in knowing like this isn't like just to have people listening to you. It's for how you come out on the other side. Like you have your own ways of thinking, and you feel like you found your voice, so to speak, which is like priceless, you know. So cool, man.
Podcasting first. I think that you were the one that said this, but like podcasting is a long game. Look, like you're putting out, you're giving the people the ability to just like consume, like binge consume your content, like, you know, on a long drive, or, you know, if they're caught in traffic, or, you know, if they just feel like they get value, so they want to just listen to your stuff to learn for a project. You're giving people that ability, and it's not going to be like they're going to listen to one episode, then they're going to come buy your course. Like, come on, man. Like, who would do that? You know, I mean, I'm sure there's going to be scenarios where you just really touch somebody and they feel they connect with you, but it's that long game. And that's what podcasting is. That's why you don't want to spend all your time learning editing and learning audio. No, you want to find a specialist for it so you can do what you do. Tell your amazing story. Because all you guys that are listening to this, you have an amazing story. You just might not be comfortable telling it yet. There's somebody that like hears what you do, or sees what you're doing, and they want to be like you, and that's your customer. Just like Daxter said, you only need to know a little bit more than the person that is consuming your content or that you're trying to sell your product to. And you know, this is something we talked about off camera, is that you're bringing them value. Like, you're not selling snake oil. If you're selling snake oil, then you shouldn't be listening. You probably wouldn't be here, or you need to get out of here right now. But so just have that confidence. The podcast is your long game. Let them consume your content, and eventually they're going to trust you as the resource. And they're going to come to you, and they're going to support your business, and you're going to help them.
Yeah, I love that, man. And it's great to like let people know that too, for people who don't feel like they're an expert, even though they probably are better than us in certain things.
Yeah.
The way that, and I think someone had like a question about this at the panel. It works very good if you kind of like tell people where you want to go, like have a future-based cause, so people can follow you and feel like they're watching something happen, a transformation, and you document it. So yeah, I love the content you're putting out, man. It's really fire.
Let me ask you, because this was my scenario. I always was like, weren't you like so nervous that people were going to be like, "Oh, this fucking sucks," you know?
Yeah. I mean, I'm lucky that I got to see a lot of people go through the process through like my agency. So like I knew to expect it. Yeah. But you are gonna suck. Like your first like 30, 60 episodes, you're gonna suck. You still got to do it.
I was afraid of people telling. Like, I think I was just afraid of that. Which is kind of weird. Like,
there's imposter syndrome too. Like in the start, because you're trying to model a lot. Like you feel like you're just like riding with training wheels. So
just take it as, look, people come on my Instagram and they're like, "Oh, this and that," and I'm just like, "Hey, thank you so much, like, for your input. Like, it's not for you. Clearly, that's okay. Like, unfollow, like, unsubscribe. Like, you know what I mean? You're not going to be for everybody. That's okay." And
I tell people this too. Like, there's a Stoic quote, like, the best ideas are common knowledge. So if there's something out there, just repurpose it and share it. Like, I don't think like most ideas aren't like intellectual property. So if I hear something from someone, I can give my own 2 cents in it, and I could make it mine, just like remixing it. So a lot of the stuff I say is like from things I learned or just from discovery. So, yeah, dude, I want to know, like, what was the, from the people who listen to you and you help out through your podcast, like what's been like kind of the most surprising result or biggest result you've gotten from your listeners?
I think it kind of comes from two areas again, because for so long I just helped other people create content for their shows. And then when I actually like made my own stuff, it was like, I think people just felt like it was real. They felt like it was honest and not like it was staged. I'm not saying that people's like shows like seem staged, but like you can just tell certain people like go through, they're just like following the script, which like you're supposed to, like, that's what we're doing. But I think that people just felt like, hey, it was from a real place, and it was just genuine. And if I can help someone to have that epiphany themselves, I mean, that's my goal. Like every time that I put something together, it's like, hey, listen, I want you to like really examine this, and you can't always put out. I think that the expectation has got to be, I'm gonna put out like A plus material every time. But the reality is, you're just like you said, it's always getting better, and but it's a weird thing. You're always doing your best at that time. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like you're, but I think
that's why I tell people, like, give away your best knowledge. Like you have so much of it, like just give it all away.
Yeah,
so
give your best stuff away, and they'll see how genuine you are. A lot of times people worry about that. Oh yeah, well that took me. Yeah, I know it took you a lot of hours to learn and years to learn and putting that PDF together because you probably should have outsourced it. Like took you like 4 weeks, but listen, give it away. Give it away.
Yeah, because a lot of people won't even do it anyways. But what will happen is that they'll feel like they trust you, and they're like, they're expecting that you over deliver every time. So, which is great. So,
exactly.
Yes, I have. I want to know what kind of is like your goal with like your market, your podcast that you're trying to like differentiate yourself. Like, what do you feel like is like your new opportunity?
Yeah, for me, with the vegan show. The vegan transition is not about stop what you're doing and go vegan. It's really about helping people to understand the benefits of a plant-based diet and what it can do in your life, just having more plants in your diet even. So the goal with that show really is to just expose people to information that they thought, maybe wasn't out there. They see me 6'8", 240. I'm slinging around a lot of weight. You know what I'm saying? I'm, pro basketball player. I've done everything, like keto, like carb cycling, like paleo, like I've done it all. I've tested all the training methodologies, everything. So I'm giving them a viewpoint of, hey, listen, I've been through all of this, so you don't have to. You can take this information that I've accumulated. And the goal really is to just help people to be in a better place. In the end, if they end up wanting to do one of my programs, cool. You know what I'm saying? I have something for that. With the success bias you and I were talking about, that's like maybe more of like a personal project where it's like, man, I've been through some shit. I opened my first gym in 2013, my first of what would be 2 gyms. I helped open 2 facilities before that, becoming a master fitness liaison, for SWAT teams and doing all that stuff, just getting really respected, by like our top U.S. Olympic coaches from my knowledge. And this is coming from a guy that I was just a basketball player. I didn't go to school for this stuff, but I invested the time to learn. Just my passion for like business and, creating something for yourself that you can stand on and nobody can tell you, well, you know what, it's a tough time of the year and, we gotta cut some slack somewhere. I just felt like I wanted to be in charge of things, and I want the ability to like find people that I can help, that I can like uplift. It's like, hey, listen, I already have the platform. I have the company. Come do what you do, and give that gift to other people. And I think that's really the hope for me, is to just share as much information as I can. I have a coaching program for people that want to, get into running their fitness business online. That course actually launches, and I have a free 4-day course that's out right now. But yeah, man, that's really what it is for me. Like, just give away as much information as I can. If I've got something that can help you to put yourself in a better position financially, I'll give you all the keys to the, to the house.
Awesome, dude. Yeah, this is my partner actually gave it away. He's vegan too. So
see,
yeah.
Hey, I got a clothing line that's coming out, bro. I'm gonna send you a shirt.
Yeah, I'm vegetarian. I just I like
good,
eggs.
Man. Yeah, I mean, you know what? It's funny. Like I was, the vegan transition is exactly what it is. When I came down with the blood clots, I was out for 16 months, hospitalized for about 5 days. 2 blood clots that turned to pulmonary embolism. Like it was a transition for me. It was slow. You can't just expect your body to just flip over.
That's so true. Like it's funny. One of my first podcasts was actually a health podcast, like 2.5 years ago. And I don't know if I shared this at the panel, but it was called like Everyday Tonics, because I was really into like Chinese medicine and like superfoods and stuff.
Eastern medicine, yeah.
Yeah, like mushrooms and stuff. Like that's kind of how I changed. I used to work at McDonald's when I was in high school for like 3 years. My health was like super bad, and then so before I got into entrepreneurship, I got into health for like 3 years, and I like changed my body, my energy, and then I was able to like actually pursue things when you actually feel better.
That's why your skin looks so good. Your skin's like super vibrant, man.
Yeah, dude. It's all those like adaptogens, dude.
Yeah. So I didn't take eggs were like the last thing after like already being plant-based for 2 years, like eggs were the last thing to come out of my diet. And I never tell people, I'm like, yo, people are like, hey, I'm going vegan. I'm like, don't do that. Like, do not do that. First off, stop eating like an asshole. Let's make better choices, and then let's start removing some things from your diet.
Yeah, dude, it took me like 6 months to a year to transition. Like first you take out certain meats, and then you go just to fish, and then because your whole bacteria has to change, dude. Like people say, like you are what you eat, but in reality, you are what you digest.
Yeah, you know? Yeah. There's a really good book called anybody that's like just trying to learn more about how your body performs, it's called the 10% Human. 10% Human is going to teach you a lot. I used to be the VP for a probiotic company that had come from the Czech Republic. I helped them launch the startup launch the US side of the company. And man, there's so many amazing studies linked to like good and bad, like gut health, like gut bacteria. I mean, your gut flora is not in the right place. I mean, that's linked to so many illnesses and sicknesses and depression and anxiety. It's crazy, man.
Dude, that is like the number one. Like even when I had my little YouTube channel and stuff, like that was the number one thing I taught was how to make your own probiotic solutions. Because if you fix your gut, like all disease starts in the gut. I think that's what Socrates said.
100% true, man.
Yeah, like I have like little concoctions in my house. It's pretty like crazy. Like years of throwing different bacteria in there. Cool, man. Ryan says he loves free shit, by the way. Dude, I got some rapid fire questions here. Some fun questions. Let's go. First question. Who has been your biggest mentor, and what's the number one thing he taught you?
You know, a lot of people do not like him. And I actually heard of some really awkward shit that they say happened at the 10X con down in Miami. But Tai Lopez. Let me explain.
Oh, dude, he was actually my favorite speaker at 10X.
Yeah. Somebody said it was like something weird that was on the screen or something that popped up. I don't know. But either way,
oh, it was stupid. No, like he was typing in something in the search bar, and then like some like porn site came up, I think, or something. I don't know.
I think somebody said it was like like I said, I don't want to, but like 3 people that are here said it was like a KKK thing. I was
like, no. He randomly typed in like letters on his keyboard, and it came out to KKK.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I'm whatever. But like, so around the time I was really looking for, I was like, okay, I understand that I need to start taking in more information. I need to start investing in myself. I can't just expect this change to happen because I'm asking for it. Plus, I'm about to ask people to pay me money. Like, fuck out of here. I got to spend money on myself. So me and like 4 other gym owners all did the 67-step program together.
That was my first course I bought, by the way.
Fire. It was a complete paradigm shift. Like, I wanted to leave like the relationship that I was in. I started changing on and it wasn't about anybody else. It was about the mindset that I needed to take on. And people will like shit on him. They're like, oh yeah, Tai Lopez, he's always doing this, and I just can't stand him. And I'm like, that's cool. Go ahead. You don't consume him, so the rest of us will. Like I've purchased like 5 of his courses, like no joke. And every time I learn real shit, it's up to me to apply it. But that course just set me on fire from there. Like I just started like looking for information and how to recognize it. And I started seeing the possibilities of if you positioned, because that course is not about business, by the way. Like it's nothing about business. It's like completely about like looking at yourself and like organizing your finances and positioning yourself like where you want to be. And one of the craziest stories that I actually tell people is the one about the Sioux Indians. I don't know if you remember that one.
With Tai?
Yeah. It was when they talked about the settlers' first accounts in the Americas of the Sioux Indians. And it was like mothers in a pond, like dunking their newborn babies, like in the like holes that were cut into the frozen pond. And they were like petrified. They were like, why would you do that? Like, what would make you? And they were like, with like the most serious face, they were just like, to harden them. You know what I'm saying? Because the Sioux Indians were seen as like some of the most ferocious like Indians that there were. And that's where he started talking about like, when's the last time you took a cold shower? When's the last time you, slept on the floor? When's the last time you didn't eat for a day? Stuff like that. And he was like, you know what I'm saying? You need to remember what that's like. You need to harden yourself. And I was like, damn, man, I've been, sitting here feeling sorry for myself because I don't have all these things. Nah. And I just started kind of I've probably told 20 people to take that course since then.
Dude, I mean, it was straight philosophy, dude. I remember like you gotta deserve what you. I forget that quote he
None of
says.
it was his, by the way. None of it, and he said that none of it was his.
Yeah. Oops. We gotta Marcus will hop back on here in a second. Yeah, dude. I almost forget. Can you hear me?
Yeah. It like just came back.
Yeah, I almost forget how big that course was for me because that's when I was like first started and I was doing nothing. And now I want to look back at it because that was probably one of the best pieces of marketing.
Bro, you still have access to it. Like, okay,
Yeah.
so before, remember they used to make you pay. By the way, they used to make you pay. It was like 67. It was like 67 days. They said it was going to take you, but it took me longer than that. So you paid $67 a month. But bro, now they just give you lifetime access to it. I still have access to it.
I'm gonna go through it again just because like I think the way he framed it, where it was step by step, it made you like commit to it. It wasn't just like here's 67 videos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I need to do something like that. That's crazy.
But I go back and I go back through it probably like once every like year and a half. I start going back through it again.
Yeah, so I actually have a funny Tai Lopez story. I actually flew out to his mansion. He was gonna hire me. Yeah. To be like so this is like way back like 2016. He posted this like IQ test on his Snapchat. He's like whoever scores like the highest. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I totally cheated on that. I just used Google. Like what the hell? Like why wouldn't I not use Google? And so yeah, I went out to his house. I went out to his house and I spent like a whole day with him, like 9 hours. And they actually offered me a job to be a personal assistant. But it was weird. Like I would say his personality is different in person in that he's very very ADD, like a lot of things going on. But I do appreciate like how like I still remember his first YouTube video, how good it was. Like I would literally like what was going on in my mind as he did like in the garage. Like
the cars. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those aren't his Lambos. I'm like, bitch, you're missing the point. I don't care.
Like he made you pay attention and like actually like feel something. Like he was the first person talking about like college and books and like, you know, going against the norm, you know, causing controversy. So obviously the people he's polarizing, which is good. Cool. So that was a great rapid fire answer. Dude.
Oh, yeah, I was about to say that was super rapid fire. Sorry, bro.
No. What is your what would you say is like I feel like this kind of overlaps now. I was gonna ask like what's the number one investment you made in like an educational material or something, or like
I would say that
it could be an event or something.
Yeah. I did a mastermind. I did a mastermind like mentorship program online for like fitness coaches, and it just in like about 40 days, I had like 15 grand in sales, no bullshit. And I was like, no ad spend, like straight up. Yeah.
That's the best.
I spent like $9. I spent like $9, but it was like over like Labor Day and like nothing happened for me because I didn't really know how to run ads.
Yeah, dude, it's great. Like half of my friends who are like my buddy Andrew, like that's 500,000 a year with no ad spend, all organic. Josue, who I had like on episode 3 of my podcast, he grew his agency to like now he's doing like 3 million a year. Still no ad spend. He's never done an ad in his life. Just straight Facebook groups, Quora, Reddit, Instagram.
Yep.
So it's pretty interesting. I have so this is our last question here, and then we can wrap up. What are you currently obsessed with, dude? It could be literally anything. So.
Oh man, what am I currently obsessed with? Right now, I'm obsessed with like operations, bro. Like just like systems, like step 1, step 2, step 3. Okay, because I've done so many things like on the fly, and I don't know if Laura's still listening, but she's probably gonna be like, "Oh my God, yes, it's true." Because when we did the event, we were just kind of like that, like, "Hey, like, where's the checklist? Like the day before, like, where's like the pre-event, like day of, like, where's the intro, like the post, like the following recap, the debrief, like everything." It's like, okay, anytime that I'm doing something now, I used to just create stuff. Now it's like when I make a document, I don't actually use the document; it's a template, and because I know that sooner or later it's going to be used for the fitness business. I just, you know what I mean? So I'm just obsessed with, if I'm going to really do this, I'm going to really multiply, then that means that it can't actually be all me. And I need to have the systems. I need to have the systems to help, onboard clients, to interview, to, everything. I have to have systems for it. I'm obsessed with it because if I've got a system, I've got a real business.
Yeah, dude, we're in the same boat, dude. Like, it's funny when I went there, I was like, I literally gave them out questions. So I'm like, you guys don't have questions for backup,
Mhm,
that's why I was like, when I was there the whole time, I was thinking about framework system. It's like
mhm.
that, and what's been working for me well now, is just like being grounded in numbers and just
Yeah,
tracking like every aspect and like your just
yeah,
productivity.
yeah.
The transition to CEO is like kind of fun. It's completely different, but it is fun. So, dude, I'm really like grateful to have you on here. We'll probably this again in the future when
Anytime, bro. Anytime.
when things are blowing up. We should probably, what we should do? We should do an IG live sometime like in the next
Sounds
week.
good.
Yeah,
I
just
love it.
spontaneous, just like answer some people's questions, give some value. I
Yeah.
want to play it with IG live more because I know.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That that's where I think like well the thing is at first when people do it, they're kind of like, oh man, nobody's watching. But then like the more you do it, the more you do it. I'll give you guys like a little hack too. So like I'm doing a live today, and the live I'm doing today, I sent the live like for my story to like 40 people. I was like, hey, why don't you come on? You know what I'm saying? We'll like chat it up. And I'm basically telling them, hey, like I'll bring you on camera. And it's true. Like I'll like if I can, like I will. I'm not being dishonest or anything. But I I do other things too, where like sometimes I'll go from one of my other accounts and I'll ask questions. So I have content for when I talk because not everybody's gonna want to go and be like, oh, I have a question, oh, I have a question. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But the more consistent you are with lives, the more people start coming on, the more people want to see because you're giving them value. So yeah, man, I'd love to have you on.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. That's a great idea, actually, because then it's like people feel like they're waiting in line and then they're listening because they're like, "Oh, what are these two people about to talk about?"
Yeah, yeah.
It's like
And then
watching,
also
like, yeah,
like if I bring you on to my live, it shows that you're live on your story. So then your people will go check out and maybe they'll like what I have to say and vice versa. So like you're leveraging other people's audiences and for each other.
and also it's like what I like about it is that you're to the top of the story feed. So even if people don't watch it, they see your name, and if there's something they get reminded of, like, "Oh, I should reach out to Daxi," or "Oh, let me," you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's just a way to stay on top of people's mind. Cool,
100%,
man.
man.
I'm pretty excited. We'll do this IG live. If people want to follow you or if they want to like, do your challenges or whatever, where can they go?
Yeah. Yeah, so you guys can go on Instagram. I'm the Watts guy. That's probably the best place to go because I have so much stuff. Like I have a link in my personal bio where you can see like my free plans, my like free meal plans. You can get access to like my fat loss masterclass, and then just everything else. You'll just kind of get spiraled out to all the other things. But hit me up. Like don't be like a ghost follower either. Like come ask questions, bro. Like come interact. Like let me know, like, listen, I want to know about this. Like, what do you do with this? That's what social gives you the ability to do. You shouldn't just be like scrolling your timeline, like liking and checking the explore page. Go find these people and interact with them.
That's some sage advice, dude. Sweet, man. So I'll let you know when this is out. Thanks so much for listening, guys. If you're on the replay, give me hashtag replay. And appreciate it. Show Marcus some love in the comments. And till next time, dude.
Yeah, man.
Peace
Dude,
out.
can I do a little Instagram thing, like so people see that I was talking with you?
Cheer. Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm here with my man Daxi. We just did a dope little interview. Make
What's
sure you
up?
guys check him out. Hey.
Awesome.
Love
Awesome.
it, man. Gotta
Cool.
take advantage of it. So, hey, bro,
Yeah.
thank you so much. And I love your energy.